Little weed pressure, not much. I'm gonna come lay grass on this in a little bit when I get time in the next few days. Again, snow peas are looking good, and then filled in the gap. So in between each tomato, there's the New England pie pumpkin, because these are a determinate variety of tomatoes. So they only put on all their fruit at once and then harvest all at once, rather than your indeterminate tomatoes where they put on fruit at all different times and ripen unevenly, and they go for the whole season. So we have two different varieties here, Koralik and Early Cherry, both from Territorial Seed, and those are just put on the ground in a 2-inch soil block with grass on top of the ground. I guarantee you there'll be tomatoes in a month. Well, there's tomatoes there right now, but you know what I mean. So, coming back out, I just transplanted some more red lettuce the other day. You can see it down there. And I thought it was a leaf day, but it was actually a flower day. But on the moon calendar, it was good for any above ground crops. So we'll see what happens there. But lettuce is also in the dandelion family, and dandelion is a flower. So maybe lettuce should actually be planted on flower days. We'll see what happens with that one. But they're doing very wonderfully. And if you can see, these lettuce didn't get eaten by any slugs. I haven't been uploading from my laptop, but I'll try to link to that video here about slugs don't eat red lettuce. Came up with that observation. Gotta do a little weeding here, lay some grass on top, but overall the lettuce is looking good. So like I was saying at the beginning of the first part of the video, first succession, second succession, third succession, fourth succession of lettuce, fifth succession, and then I have the sixth in there. Yeah, and I just started the sixth Monday. And then the next leaf day will be the seventh succession, so on and so forth. These onions also not doing too well. I hypothesize if it's the Asian jumping worms or if just because, again, this was on that wet edge near the river. Probably not the best for the garlic either, but it'll make it more hardy overall. I guess we'll go backwards. Oh, I planted a few of those determinate varieties here. These are the early cherry, just to take up some space. We got like 9 there. Still working on what I'm gonna put on these outer row for this lettuce. I'm just taking it a day at a time, really, at this point. So down this whole row, where my hand is on the back, that's Lillian's Yellow heirloom tomato from my own saved seed. And then down, all the way down to the other side, on this side of the peas, is New England pie pumpkin from my own saved seed. And then there's a little pocket right here between the row of pumpkins and the Lillian's yellow tomatoes that I might try and do sweet corn. But then if you go over to this side, it will be the New England pie pumpkins to the west, Oregon snow peas in the middle, fixating nitrogen and gonna get a harvest. Those will feed nitrogen to the flint corn, Abenaki flint corn, that I've also been saving seed off of since 2022. And then it goes to the Lillian's yellow tomato. So boom, 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 boom. 4 rows right there, and they're all supporting one another. And then I did a little bit of weeding. I planted like tree crops, some black walnuts, some peach seeds. Doesn't look like any of them did well. So I did honey nut squash that I've also been saving seed off of for 2 years. Honey nut squash. It's a very nice little like baby squash. Doesn't store for too long, but it's just a honey nut squash. Check it out. It's beautiful. And then I was getting a little worried because I did plant these on April 6th, which is 6 weeks before our last frost date and around the time I plant potatoes every year, and they're coming up. So we'll let the potatoes come up a little bit more, and then we will take care of the weeds. This is also a part of a 3-year trial where I sow snow peas on top of the potatoes before they come up to help fixate nitrogen, get a crop while the potatoes are still growing. So I'll get a crop of snow peas, and then they'll eventually end up getting choked out by the potatoes. And now I know that these beds look pretty bad, right? They do, but when you look at it, they look bad from this way. Like, oh my gosh, look at all those weeds. But when you look at it down like this, it's really not that bad, because if I was trying to put a plant here, oh, there's my spot. Make a plant, put it right there, and then I would just trim all around this, and I just did that, and I can show you. So, next row of potatoes, first row of potatoes, second row of potatoes, third row of potatoes, early season potatoes, mid-season potatoes, late season potatoes. And I actually did 2 early and 1 late. And then these elderberry cuttings are putting on beautiful growth. That's what happens when you get fresh cuttings. What I mean by fresh cuttings is, I've learned this, it's taken me some years to learn this, but when you harvest hardwood cuttings, you want to make sure that you get, you can get a really old, hardy, thick cutting, but from my observations, you don't want like some old, growth that's like almost like rotting and dying. Like, you want it to be, have a lot of vitality. So if you could take cuttings from growth that was from a 1st year growth or 2nd year growth, that you put that cutting in the ground and it's putting out roots. It's rooting. Make sure it's watered and that's it. But if you don't have good cuttings, then you won't get good clones. Oh wow, so busy. I forgot to come back and transplant the last row of tomatoes. Well, I guess we can do one together. But just like I was saying, I came around, I chopped these weeds, I laid this grass on grass that looked like that in October, and now there's soil and also slugs. Oh, he fell. I put that on top of that, and I put that leaf mulch around. I didn't dig, I didn't till. It's as simple as that. And now, in a few months, there'll be a tomato. These are the winter storage tomatoes, Anna Rita. And this row is Pinaloa. And these ones are actually from Italy. And then we have those tomatoes I was talking about, going down that whole row. So again, tomatoes, flint corn, peas, pumpkins. I've learned how to farm these edges from my previous plot because I had a small amount of space and I was always trying to cram all my crops into one little 40 by 40 square. Well, now that I have 80 by 80 square, I can still use those same practices to crank out some mighty production on a small amount of space, on a closer together spacing than your standardized large-scale farming, or the kind of farming that everybody thinks of when they think of farming. So then I did some of the Lillian's yellow in these repurposed tomato cages that I got, so I'll save seed off of these, and that way I can keep them nice and trellised and pruned. And then down this whole row is elderberry cuttings, and they're all putting on some really nice growth. I just saw one before. There you go. That was that grandfather cutting. So it's putting on some really nice growth. So you could imagine, in a way, we usually do it from the other side, but we'll do it from this side. Oh, and I just did New England pie pumpkin down this whole side too. So New England pie pumpkin, elderberry cuttings. There's some tomatoes right here, raspberries going down the whole row. Raspberry plants that I have grown myself from just 2 little suckers. And then after the raspberries, a row of peppers. Whole row of peppers, whole row of eggplant. The eggplant comes into another winter storage tomato, and then this whole bed right here is an entire bed of rooting elderberry cuttings. Let me see if I could just pick one out. That wasn't a good one, but I have picked some out recently, and they literally have already started putting roots out. So that's cool. So the peppers, eggplant, it was a total of 64 peppers and 40 eggplant, and I haven't counted the tomatoes yet. And then there's Jerusalem artichoke, 12 to 18 foot tall sunflower with an edible tuber, peppers, eggplant, and then with enough spacing in between each eggplant and pepper that I could put a head of lettuce, a bulb of fennel, or an onion. So this will all get interplanted. We have some currant coming up from my own rooted cutting. Peach tree that I grew from seed in its 2nd year. Peach tree that I grew from seed in its 2nd year. Elderberry cutting that I rooted all last season, so this will be its 2nd season. Now that it's a rooted cutting, it should put on up to 8 feet of growth in 1 season. And then on this last little edge right here, we've got more peas, Tom's Thumb popcorn, and there's sage, more spearmint, chocolate mint, a whole row of peppers, and then on the outside will be New England pie pumpkin. So, like I had stated in the previous video, oh, and I got all the grass raked. Isn't that satisfying? Just looking at that. Well, for me it is. So I'm gonna take that grass, 1 wheelbarrow at a time, and get it around these plants. Get it around where it's most needed, which is at the base of a growing food crop plant. Yeah, so now that I got all that done, I got all these plants planted, it's time to start focusing on the inside. And the potatoes are coming up, so that really leaves just 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got tomatoes in these cages too. But on the back side of that, where those cages are, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and like a half. So I still have 10 and a half sections that still need to be fully planted out. And then continuously flipped throughout the whole season. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. What I do know that I'm gonna be able to do is keep on planting seeds every single week, transplanting plants when it's time, and just keep it going and just operating at the best capacity that I could possibly operate at. We got the farm stand opening in a week or so, and I've still been working like 1 or 2 days a week over the mountain doing odd jobs. So it's really hard to manage it all. So I give mega props to the people on a much higher scale than me, but a lot of other people have more than one person. So when you're one person, you don't have family members. I do have family members that help, but in different ways. When I'm out here, I'm out by myself. So when you don't have a partner or family members that are actively helping you 24/7, it's a lot to boggle. And I'm just trying to do the best that I can and focus on more so than I still want to grow everything, but I'm really zoning in on like, all right, what am I good at? What do I know how to do? What is gonna for sure like get me a crop, which is inevitably gonna give me a profit? Because this is for the food, and it's not for the money, and it's for my health, but this is how I'm trying to make a living. So it would be nice to finally see more than breaking even this season, and I think I will. I know that I will. So One Love Wholeness, thanks for listening to me talk about the garden. Thank you, Grass-Fed family, because without your support, I don't have any support. So your support is immense to me. It means a lot to me immensely. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace, blessings, and wholeness.